Good evening once again. Promotion candidate. Tonight is another important topic that we are going to discuss and share with you some areas that you need to be very careful when you are going to write the promotion exams. In this area, whether you like it or not, you meet it every year, especially those who are going to write Assistant Director 2, Director 1, and Deputy Director. You need to be very careful with this area that I'm going to discuss. But before we delve into this topic, leadership for learning, kindly do me a favor by liking the video, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comment section and share it with your friends who are going to write the promotion exams. We are looking at the topic leadership for learning. The big question is, what is leadership for learning? If you read so many books, they have not given a clear definition of leadership of learning. But I have been able to come out with a very simple definition that will help you remember and able to keep it in your head or keep it in your mind before you go and write the exams. Then we'll know the core principles of leadership for learning. Very, very important area. Every year, questions come from this area, and people are struggling to answer questions from this area. Let's jump into it. What is leadership of learning? So when we talk of leadership of learning, it simply involves creating an enabling environment and fostering practices that prioritize and enhance learning for everyone, focusing on shared responsibilities, reflection, and development of leadership skills within the context of learning. That is leadership for learning. I take it again. So when we talk about leadership for learning, it simply involves creating an enabling environment and fostering practices that prioritize or that focuses and enhance learning for everyone. So within this leadership for learning, everybody has the opportunity to learn. Everybody has the opportunity to explore in this environment. And it focuses on shared responsibility. That is a delegated responsibility to all members within the context of leadership for learning. And you reflect over the responsibilities that you have been given, the shared responsibility that you have been given, and the activities that you have been given. You reflect on it, you recollect on it, and know where there are lapses for you to improve and for you to enhance on. That is leadership for learning. Then leadership skills is developed in this leadership for learning. Everybody in this context is a leader, and everybody in this context needs to develop his leadership skills in the context of learning. That is leadership for learning. Now, let's see some of the core principles of leadership for learning. And it's very important that we get to know. Most of the times, the questions that come in the exams are based on the core principles of leadership for learning, and we need to know them before we go and write our promotion exams. Very, very important. So the core principles and practices for leadership for learning are: 1, focus on learning. Maintaining a focus on learning. Leadership for learning emphasizes that learning should be central focus of leadership action, with leaders prioritizing the needs and the experiences of learners. So one of the main focus, or one of the main core principles of leadership for learning, is to emphasize on the central focus of the leadership actions, with leaders prioritizing the needs and the experiences of learning. That is one of the core principles of leadership for learning. Then 2, shared responsibilities. Shared responsibilities. Responsibilities are delegated. Responsibilities are decentralized for everyone to perform his quota to help the development of learning. So leadership for learning is not solely on the domain of the designated leaders, but it is a shared responsibility with the opportunity for everyone to engage in the learning rules. So everybody has a part to play, and everybody has a duty to offer in the leadership for learning. So it is a shared responsibility. That is one of the core principles and practices of leadership for learning. Now, the third core principles of leadership for learning is that it is very reflective practice. You reflect, you recall, you sit down and meditate over it. Leadership for learning encourages reflection on the nature, the skills, and processes of learning, both the learners and the leaders, to enhance understanding and improve the practices of learning. So in the leadership for learning, there is a reflection of practice. Whatever you have been given to perform, you sit down and reflect on it. Where have I made a mistake, and where should I improve upon it? So the nature of the learning and the skills of learning need to be reflected on, or the processes of learning need to be reflected on to help learners. So it is very, very important. Then another core principles of leadership for learning is creating a favorable condition. Creating a favorable condition within the context of the leadership for learning. How does it employ in this situation? So leaders create environment that are safe, supportive, and stimulating, where individuals have the chance to take risks and learn from their mistakes. So if the environment is favorable, everybody has the chance to take risks, to learn from their mistakes that they will make in the leadership for learning. So it is very important. Then they embrace all the challenges that may come, because it is a shared responsibilities. Surely you will be able to identify challenges in this learning context, and if favorable environment is created, then everybody is having the chance to explore and the chance to make mistakes, and you learn from the mistakes that you learn. It is very important that we get to know these things. Then another core principle of leadership for learning is that it's a dialogue and collaboration. Dialogue and collaboration. You collaborate, you dialogue, you discuss, you transfer knowledge, you work as a team, you come together as a force to work together to form or to achieve your goals. So leadership for learning promote an open communication and collaboration, fostering a culture of inquiry and shared understanding about learning and teaching. So in the context of leadership for learning, there is a discussion, there is a collegial, there is a teamwork, there is a discussion, there is a shared ideas, there is a shared principles that you sit down and share within the context of learning. So we say that leadership for learning promotes an open communication. We're able to communicate among ourselves, we openly discuss matters. No no secret is being kept, but it's very open for everybody to communicate and collaborate, work as a team in a way of fostering the culture of inquiry and sharing understanding about learning and teaching. That is how the leadership for learning exhibits. Then it is another core principles of leadership for learning. It is having another principle as sharing leadership. Leadership is being shared. It is not one man dominating within the context of learning or within the context of the learning environment. We don't have a dominant leader, but we have someone who guides us through in the learning. So leadership for learning is a sharing leadership. Leaders are empowered, or leaders empower others and delegate responsibilities, fostering a culture of shared leadership and a collective responsibilities. So in the leadership for learning, there is an empowerment of others. There is a delegation of powers to each and everyone to have a sense of responsibility within the context of the leadership for learning. So leaders empowered others and delegate responsibilities and fostering a culture of shared leadership and collective responsibility. It's very important. Then the next one is shared accountability. If leadership is able to share or able to delegate powers, then it means that the delegated powers and activities that are given to others, they must account for whatever they have been entrusted in to do. So leadership for learning emphasis on a shared sense of accountability for learning outcomes, with all stakeholders taking responsibility for creating learning rich environment. So it is very important. Everybody is made accountable in the leadership for learning. Very, very important topic that we need to look at before we go and write the exams. And in doing this, it will really help us, it will really encourage us as teachers, as learners within the context of learning, leadership for learning, so that it will help us build our children in the future. They will be able to share ideas all the time. Then students' voices are being heard within the context of leadership for learning. Students' perspective and voices should be integral to the learning processes, with the opportunity for them to lead and shape their own learning experience in all the time. So it is very important that we get to know these principles of leadership for learning before we go and write our promotion exams. Come back another time, we shall look at another topic that is so dear to us. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like. Very, very important. That is what you use to support me, for me to bring you all the details all the time for us to pass our promotion exams. Thank you. I salute. Bye bye.